All right. Anthony and/or Cupcake Alcoholic.
Anthony.
Hi, Tony.
Or Tony, if you're my sponsor and you're sitting next to me as I share at a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Don't fucking lie.
And I won't fucking lie either. So my sobriety date was just recent, 2/1/2011, so that gives me a little over 12 years. And this is this alcoholic's opinion. That does not fucking matter. All that matters is that today I woke up on the right side of the dirt and I stayed sober. And I will go to bed sober. God willing, I will wake up tomorrow and start that process over again. The amount of time I've cobbled together is because I'm willing to do whatever it takes to maintain that 24 hours at a time. When I think about my story, as some of you know, I don't do drunkalogs. The amount of drugs and alcohol I consumed will not keep anybody in this room sober. Now, I was in the Navy for 8 years, so as you can imagine, I probably have some stories. It would be very entertaining for after the meeting out on the veranda as people have a smoke. I could talk to you about doing cocaine off a stripper's ass. That's not going to keep you sober either, but that's for after the meeting, right? What's going to keep you sober is you and your ability to do, I think, as my father would say, the most important thing. God, or whatever you believe in, gave you 2 ears, 2 eyes, and 1 mouth. Shut the fucking one thing, use the 4 before you get to open the 1. Sit down, be willing, be open to suggestion, listen to what men in this room have done before you. Be willing to take suggestions. Be willing to be an active participant in your alcoholism. It says here when we open the meeting that the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. I no longer have that. I have stopped drinking. I don't think about alcohol. I don't think about drugs. That's not a part of what happens up here when the squirrels are in charge. What does happen is I have to be willing to do how I was instructed when I was taken to the big book and worked for the first time, honestly, the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. They're in order for a reason. We suggest that you work with somebody and do the steps in order for that reason. It's recommended that it's not a one and done situation. Step work is an ongoing thing. No matter how far away you are from your last drink, as we have seen time and time again, people with a great deal of time also go out. We don't know how to explain that, but I can tell you from personal experience, when I stop having constant contact with my higher power, when I allow my character defects to run the show, when I decide that I actually know something and I go with that thought, all the wheels on the bus fall off and I get further and further away from the actual program of Alcoholics Anonymous. This is a free program. People will say that it's simple. I will say that that is true to the individual, and for some individuals it's not simple. Some people come and go and it takes them a while to stay. Some people just never stay and we don't get to see them again. If you want what we have and you're willing to go to any length to get it, this is what I will promise you, because this is true. At least it is for me. Your life will get better. It won't be easy. Shit won't be free. You won't be able to skate around on a pink cloud forever. But if you do the work, your life will get better. I had my first drink, according to my dad. He had to remind me tonight when I called him. My dad's got 37 years in the program. And he's also my best friend. And he said, I was 7 years old and Dad was mowing the lawn. And For those of us old enough to remember, Miller High Life used to come in a 10-ounce clear glass bottle. It was very bubbly. And I thought I should taste it before I bring it to him. So for the entire day, at 7 years old, I was drinking what they would call the neck, so down to that first label. My dad, because he was an alcoholic, thought it was cool, right? Turns out it wasn't cool, but I remember that feeling, that little buzz that I got as a 7-year-old kid drinking the champagne of beers. Bless you. I spent a great deal of my life, I'm 56 years old, right? So I only have 12 years of continuous sobriety. I spent a great deal of my life shoving all of my emotions down. So I used drugs and alcohol specifically not to deal with reality and specifically not to feel, purposefully not to feel. How did that work out for me? Pretty fucking bad. I tried to kill myself. I ended up in a mental institution for 2 weeks. I will tell you that when I was using drugs, I thought lithium was fucking cool, but when you're in a mental hospital with people drilling and pissing and shitting on themselves for 2 weeks, it's really not that cool.
Right. 4-point restraint.
Right. Yeah, that too. From the back. So a smart person would normally wake up and think, oh, maybe I have a fucking problem. But for this alcoholic and drug addict, it took another 6 months. And I wasn't willing to admit I had a problem, and here's why. I had a job. I had a really good job. I used to work on Wall Street. I used to be a trader. I was seemingly successful, right? I had money. I hadn't been fired yet. But I had lost all the respect of the people that I worked for. And my reputation was as an addict and an alcoholic, and I couldn't admit it. Now, I was very blessed to have an employer that sent me to a program. So that was pretty fucking cool. The very first day I got here, not to this room, but to Alcoholics Anonymous, I remember raising my hand and admitting that I was an alcoholic, and instantly I felt a relief. I didn't really know if I belonged, but I felt like for the first time in my entire life, I was honest about something for me. I was willing to admit that I had a problem and that I needed help. I've been very blessed to have men in these rooms walk me through the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. Been very blessed to have moved here from Northern California, 4.5 years ago. And when it was in the other little room, I walked in and introduced myself, and they were like, oh, you're new to this meeting? You can sit here in this chair tonight. Now, I don't know about you, but when I go to a new meeting, I like to sit all the way in the back so that I kind of blend in. Right?
You don't blend.
I don't blend, clearly. It's not just the hair, it's the beard. But that's what I need. I need people to push me in the middle. I need men in this room to keep me accountable. How do I do that? Right? We talk about in these rooms about keeping your character defects at bay, about not being a dick, and how incredibly important it is in life not to be a dick to people. How many alcoholics in this room have ever wronged somebody? You don't have to raise your hand, but I'm going to assume that a fair amount of us have done that, right? Yeah. I mean, Tom and I probably could be poster boys, perhaps. So, The program of Alcoholics Anonymous teaches you how to live a better life. So we have a whole bunch of books, right? I am literally an academic. Like, I'm a fucking nerd, right? So I have 2 different master's degrees, and I just got accepted into MIT to go to business school next year. So, like, I am a professional fucking nerd, right? In here is the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. This book has taught me how to be an adult, how to be a normal, kind, caring human being, not just to the men and women in Alcoholics Anonymous. Fucking shocker. I can be nice to my wife. I can be a good father to my child. Well, both of them. One's 33. He doesn't fucking care. To the grandkids, right? I can be a good employee to an employer. I have my own company, so I have people that work for me, so I get to take care of them. This is all because of Alcoholics Anonymous. None of this is because of me. It's because people always make fun of me. They call me a big book thumper. You're about to figure out why. So all of these books I read on a constant rotation. Because these books, this literature for Alcoholics Anonymous, some of these aren't necessarily AA approved, but they're used by people in the program because they're written by people in the program. It is imperative for me to continue to study. Why? Because as soon as I think I'm smarter than the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, I'll be dead. And it'll be too fucking late. I have to be willing to admit that I am the stupidest smart person you have ever met. And stupidity is actually a scientific term. It means that your cognitive reasoning skills, for some fucking reason, turn off. Okay? It doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means that scientifically your brain shuts off. When I drink and use drugs, my fucking brain shuts down. It doesn't just shut off temporarily. I don't know how to act like a fucking human being. When I read things in Alcoholics Anonymous, the literature, when I go to meetings, when I get to sit up here and be honored by sharing my experience, strength, and hope with you, I get to do what was given to me. Everybody I've ever met in Alcoholics Anonymous gave all of this to me freely. I don't know of anything else in life that hasn't had a fucking string attached. Hasn't had some commitment to it. But you know what's fucking great about Alcoholics Anonymous is you're going to start to get commitments. You're going to start to want to go to meetings. You're going to want to make coffee. Please don't let me make the coffee because I fucking suck at it. But, you know, I'm willing to take the coffee commitment, right? The reason why they call me Cupcake is because once I volunteered to take the cake commitment, and so I made cupcakes, and because we like to bust each other's balls and show love, now everybody calls me fucking Cupcake. Do I care? Fuck yeah, it makes me feel so good, man. It's fucking awesome. I have a nickname. It's almost as fucking cool as walking into a bar and having go, Anthony! Yeah, that only happened when I had money in my pocket. I can come in here flat fucking broke and people will go, Cupcake, nice to see you. Where the fuck else does that happen? I can tell you when I'm being a dick, that doesn't happen at home. Nobody's greeting me at home like that. Right? This gives me the strength, the purpose, and the reason to carry on. It helps me emotionally mature as a man, to improve my sobriety, to give back to people in this room. Without this program, I would be dead. And I will repeat that as often as it takes. It doesn't mean you would be dead. It means this alcoholic would be dead without this program. Is this program for everybody? I don't know. I know it works for me. I don't know if it's going to work for you. But I do know one thing in life. If you're not willing to do work, it doesn't matter what it is you're participating in, you will fail if you're not willing to do the work. This is absolutely 100% free. Yes, we do ask for donations to help pay for coffee and pay for rent, right? It's a pretty fucking low bar. But what we give, taking other men through the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, is free. Why do we do it? It fucking keeps us sober. Taking another man through the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous reaffirms that I still have character defects to work on, that I still don't know as much as I fucking think I'd like to know, and that I got a lot of work to do. 12 years in, I still have work to do. Every time I say something stupid to my wife and I'm a dick, that sets me back. Not just days, that's years of setback. After 19 years with my wife, I'm still a dick? What the fuck is that all about? It's my character defects. I stopped praying. I didn't go to meetings. I allowed the excuse of traveling for work to get in the way. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Fucking 56 years old, I know how not to be a dick, but I don't always choose to not be a dick, right? I have to be willing to choose not to be a dick. And as soon as I make that choice, I instantly get a relief. I can amend my behavior. I don't say I'm sorry, I amend my behavior. I try not to do that one thing again. Or I try to pause. Or I try to walk out of the room, then come back in and peacefully say to my wife why I walked out of the room. If you want what we have, stay here. Be willing to do the work. If you don't want it, don't. That's fine too. Nobody's making you stay. But if you want a better life, if you want to have a fucking nickname like Cupcake, if you want to have a whole bunch of men in this room bust your fucking balls all the time, but still love you and take care of you and be there when you need help, keep coming back. Thanks.